Good night, friends and family. Welcome to another edition of Just Reasoning Live, the show where we're here to amplify your voice, amplify the voice of the Caribbean community, the Black community, and talk real issues, real perspectives about real things. We have our regulars tonight, and this good Dr. Reverend is with us again. Doc, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good?
Thanks, guys, for having me on again.
Yeah, man. Always good to have your to bring some class to the program. Always nice. Special checks all on.
Yeah. Live up in that place.
Yeah, man. I like that shirt there, Tex. Where can I get one of those?
Yeah.
Special
Maybe
Rebel.
on the inbox.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
If I can get the Rebel cap, then I'll be good to go with this Omega cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Next week.
Anyway, so last week we moved our debate. We moved our Just Reasoning, so we can watch the VP debate. Now this week, because they know how much traffic Just Reasoning gets, they decided to move the presidential, just cancel the presidential debate altogether. They didn't even have it because they know how we lock the place and lock the whole internet. So they decided to just cancel it.
Yeah.
So no debate this week for Trump to, go on into his foolishness. But in all seriousness, they canceled that debate because, Trump's still walking around sicking out everybody with COVID. But him don't want to claim it and said he doesn't want to do a virtual debate, so they cancel it. So all the best, that's one of those debates was enough. So I'm totally fine if we don't see that again.
I'm saying with the last debate,
Of course, him said that. Him say win everything. He. I'll give it to him. He manages to create his own reality. Right, in the midst of whatever your eyes see. I mean, the first time I know how that man stay. I mean, when it comes to that, like making his own reality, was after his inauguration, right? when you could just clearly look at his inauguration with like a sprinkling of people about the place, and then how him go up there and say he had the highest amount, way more than Obama. And you just look at the two pictures. I mean, he will lie about something that you're both looking at. Like that water is not wet. It's it's the craziest thing. I've never seen anything like it. But I guess if you can manage to create reality and live in that reality and get other people to that's some real sinister, deviant level of either evil or genius or evil genius, whatever it is. Anyway, it's election season, so we generally don't spend all the time talking about Trump on here because there's so much other things going on, and it kind of sucks up oxygen in a room. But election is now about 3 weeks away, and we're in that season. So as you can see, I voted sticker on today. I voted today. So early voting started in Texas yesterday, October 13th. And so, like I normally do, there's like a place around corner from our house, like a community center where I always vote in every election since 2004. If it's presidential or midterm or local elections, I walk up there and it takes me 5-10 minutes to vote. And that's it, so that's what I expected again. Even in the Obama year, when there was all that excitement, it didn't take me more than 10 minutes to vote. So they open at 8 o'clock, so I figured I'll just walk myself up there about 8:15. I'll be done by 8:30. So I drive up there, and I never seen so much cars in my life in this neighborhood. I mean, the parking lot more than full. Cars all out on the grass, taking up all on the road. And I said, all these people here to vote? And then I go and look. And, I've never seen a line in the place. And the line stretched from the community center way out onto the track. I mean, a good, probably 200 people were in line like 15 minutes after they opened up. So I'm like, there's no way I'm going to go and wait in this. So today I figured, you know what, let me get it out of the way. So I figured, all right, I'll get to 6 o'clock and just go up there early. And I fully expected that once I got there at 6 o'clock, I wasn't going to see anybody. So I just chill in my truck until it's time to go and vote. I got up there, I was like 50 up in line. And they opened up at 8. I was like 50 up in line, you know, so, you know, I was prepared this time, you know, so I brought my, you know, a bag with snacks and food and, you know, my coffee and a chair and all that. And I just chilled until the place opened up. But,
jerk chicken and patty on thing.
yeah, yeah. So you know, that's why I'm wearing the sticker all day long, because I ended up voting about 9:15. They opened up at 8. It took me about an hour and 15 to get to actually go and vote. So I got it done. Anyone have a voting experience they would like to share, or I want to wait until the last second? What kind of people we dealing with here? Especially your vote yet?
No, I'm not vote yet, but guess
Boy,
what now?
calling people
Oh,
out.
up to that, brother, man. Here comes this bag of story now.
Well, no. Them long line I show you so they can't wait for road boy come out. Them a vote early and say, yo, even before Judgment Day on November 3rd, we want you already know, so yes, you need to start fast. Right?
So you know that's not all his supporters. They're ready to go and re-elect him.
No, man, because you see what going out the world, they don't want to get him out right away. Because here's the thing now, right? We need new reform, we need new leadership so black people can feel safe in our country. Yeah. And the way it's set up now with the police, if you raise up your hand, you get shot. If you put down, them are gonna shoot you. If you walk, them are gonna shoot you. If
So a truck fault,
them
lads?
are gonna shoot you. All when you're asleep, them are gonna shoot you.
Oh, you know,
Right?
I would love to disagree with you, but I can't.
Right.
What you said, Doc?
Oh
God, sorry, cut this question.
To piggyback off, if that's his fault, I honestly feel like, I mean, he has taken the country back centuries. You know, I mean, that's just so sad and just disheartening. You know, it doesn't matter who is majority versus minority. At the end of the day, we all need each other. It doesn't matter who is, you know, whether the white wants to, you know, continue to hold the power. They cannot get this thing done without us. You know, and this man has come in and he has just honestly just pushed this country all the way back centuries. You know,
Texas.
and I mean, huh?
Go on.
I just want to know how the Daka Twang, so. Just a minute ago,
Well,
boy,
you know
it
what?
was-
You know, here's the thing.
it
I'm
was
not quite
raw.
sure what. No. I'm not sure what the audience base is.
Hey, we have all kind of people.
Right. So, you know, I have to kind of keep it
No, man.
English. More on the
Just,
English side
any
versus.
and
I'm gonna know who the
everybody,
audience is.
yeah, it's mostly Trumpers who watch this program, so.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, you know, he really he's a disappointment. You know, for
Definitely
all
so.
the efforts, you know, all the laws that were put in place to also help brown and black people to kind of feel like we're safe. No, you know, it's like you know, same thing 100 years ago.
Yeah. I would say, you know, disappointment is relative to expectations, right? He has done pretty much exactly what he said he was going to do, you know. So, you know, he has been, you know, he came as advertised, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said Texas.
So voter turnout with the numbers that we have in this early, to me, signify a plus for what we're pushing for, you know, to get them out of office. I was reading some articles today, and it said basically Harris County's numbers in the first day trumped all of, I didn't even mean to say that.
Trump.
Basically outdid the numbers of the whole state of Georgia. That's our county, Harris County. So
Wow.
that says a lot right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
One county versus a state. So we're out there early. Get out there early. Get out there often. Again,
Early and often.
Yeah. Now,
But you can only vote once.
Well, now there were some problems early yesterday. So I know specifically in Fort Bend, they actually weren't prepared. Basically, what happened was the program or whatever they're using right now was set up for a later date. So they basically had to get that rectified and get that fixed. But I know, like by noon, you were able to get through. Now there were lines. Some people had to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. I saw it in some places you had to actually wait 10 hours. But what that shows me is a level of commitment and a level, basically that people want this man out. I mean, you're willing to wait 10 hours in line just to cast that one vote. And
I'll lose your word.
Regardless of what most people think or what some people think, it matters. Your vote matters. And to me, I'm going to vote Friday, but I did go up to the local school where that's close by us, and I looked at the line. And what struck me the most is the diversity of people. And there was social distancing in place, so I'm sure that makes things a little bit more cumbersome, and it takes a little bit more time. But I mean, we're willing. Like you said, I mean, Chris, he said he woke up. You woke up at
6
o'clock to go, and I know you don't go to bed till like 3 or 4 because I'm still getting
emails. That's what I'm saying.
So I mean, hey, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think obviously it's a good sign, and the numbers are encouraging for a few standpoints. For one, high voter turnout elections always favor Democrats, just because the country is primarily Democrats. So the more people vote is generally best for Democrats.
Early voting as well. Yeah,
and so that is obviously a good thing. However, if you look at the thing about it is, okay, like I said, because they know that high turnout elections favor Democrats, Republicans do all they can to make it as hard as possible for people to vote, right? So in Georgia, for example, the first day of early voting was, I think, Monday or Tuesday. And you had people literally waiting in line for 11 hours to vote. 11 hours to vote. That's absurd. You know what I mean? It's good that people have that sort of commitment, but when you think about it, who can really afford to be in line for 11 hours? If you are, an hourly worker, or you have kids at home, you don't have that time to do that. So it's not a matter of can we make voting more efficient. For one, voting can be online. We have the technology to do it online. They won't do it. But if we can file taxes online, we can bank online. I mean, what's more personal than your taxes? They can do all that online. So if they wanted to, they could. But they want to make it hard. They want to make it on a Tuesday, not even a weekend, not even make it a holiday. And then, some states don't even have early voting. So you just have to go there on that day.
It's what I mean? Systematic inequality.
That's exactly what it is. And systems like that make this inequality persist. Again, only if you're a salaried worker who can take off a whole day and still get your money, you can go and wait 11 hours to vote. So others, who are, with of lower income and, have to, and don't have that kind of freedom, they get screwed. Many of them aren't able to vote because we clearly don't want them to. So it sucks, but that's how it goes.
One thing I did see today in Houston itself was drive-in voting, which I thought was very cool and very convenient, especially for older people that might be at risk and don't want to get out the car and go into those long lines and things like that. They were able to drive up, cast their vote and drive on. So I commend that.
They had the Harris County clerk is a young brother, 34 years old. He's the county clerk for Harris County. He was on MSNBC last night. And, that was, I've never heard of drive-in voting, and that's a kind of revolutionary thing. So, I told you, I basically waited about 2.5 hours to actually vote. A friend of mine who, he's in Harris County, and they had drive-in voting over by Reliance. He said it took him like 2 minutes. He drove up there, and it was moving fine, and he got it done in like 2 minutes. So we can figure this stuff out if we want to. It's just that they don't want to figure it out. What were you saying, Special?
Oh no, I was just saying that he was the same one that stopped a lot of the foolishness, because a question I want to ask everybody: if you turn up to the polls with an expired driver's license, should you
You're
still be
asking about-
allowed to vote? Huh?
You said should you or would you or will you?
Yeah,
You're
should
not
you
allowed.
still be allowed to vote with an expired
That's one of
driver's
the
license?
requirements.
It's a requirement,
ID.
I mean, you can argue that, but that's something you
But
just.
he was saying, the clerk was saying that it's still a person, even if it's expired. It's still
I
a
agree.
person.
I agree, but I mean,
Everyone don't need to still have a current driver's license. And he even pushed it further. He said it could be expired up to 4 years. Bring it. We will allow you to vote. Right?
Okay.
And I can commend that.
Yeah.
Some people will allow it, but that is one of the requirements to have a valid ID. It doesn't have to be a driver's license. If your driver's license is expired, or for some reason you can't get one, get an ID.
Yeah, and you know what?
Everybody can get an ID though.
I was about to say
IDs
that. Like it seems that's a deterrent to some people, right? And I for us, because we drive and we travel and all that, so we know we need to have IDs, but many people do not, because they don't drive anywhere. They don't really have an ID. It's to be able to need transportation to go to the place to get. For whatever reasons, many people do not have ID, and it's again, we talk about systemic inequality. That's a deterrent to some people to vote, because they don't have the money to go and get it and what have you. So it sucks, but they don't want certain people to vote.
That's an initiative we actually need to look at.
One old lady said she hadn't had a driver's license for 27 years, right? But she had an old ID, and he was like, okay, that's fine. So they were having this little community back and forth, talking about what kind of identification you can use, to get voted. And I'm glad he was able to participate and tell people, hey, just bring your ID in. You just need the ID to bring it in. But to use an expired driver's license, and he was like, yeah, it's cool, and we'll allow that to 4 years. That's excellent.
If you can, I mean, I think that's good. I mean, again, it comes down to who controls the local polling places. If Republicans, they're not having that.
Oh yeah, and speaking of that, you just reminded me. So the Republican Party, in regards to the drive-in voting, they filed a lawsuit to get that stopped. I don't know if y'all heard about that as well. And the appeals court actually dismissed that. So yes, that's a win.
Actually, So that's something I jotted down to talk about, because it's a pattern, right? That's they fight everything. How they, with the drop off mail-in voting, how they had 12 drop off locations throughout Harris County, but the governor said can only be one for 4.7 million people. So they want to make it difficult. What I mean? But as you said, we get a win every now and then. But and so as we talk about just like how important voting is, one of the things that has come out to me during this whole Trump era is really paying attention to the importance of the courts. So in the case of where Greg Abbott, the Texas governor, said, you can only have one drop-off location per county, regardless of size, and it got, appealed. I guess I sued Texas for it, and then initially, the court overturned it, but then it got appealed to another court. On that court sat 3 judges federal judges put there by Trump. And what happened? They threw it out. So these are the little ways that most people don't pay attention to. I certainly haven't in the past. I do now that they can screw over us in ways that aren't very visible. Like, how many of us really pay attention to what's going on in the federal court system? Majority of people do not. So
I don't have time. I don't have the time to watch it.
And they know that. They know that most people aren't paying attention, so they can basically do whatever they want to do. So that's why voting in every single election matters, man. Every single election, not just the big hype when it's a presidential election. Every single one of them matters. Doc, you have something to say before we move on to the next topic?
I mean, despite the supposed progress, my recommendation to the listeners is that, we cannot become lax. Okay, we gotta get out there in numbers, in droves. It doesn't matter what obstacles they potentially put up. We gotta figure out how to circumvent those things and get out there and make our numbers count. Because unfortunately, and I hate to bring up the skin again, but it's the black and the brown people that will have, take the beating. We are the ones that's gonna be bastardized if we really don't get out there and, get this thing done. So we can't just sit back and say, okay, mom's going to do it, grandma's going to do it. All of us got to get out there and do it. It doesn't matter how good the numbers are looking, and we're just going to have to keep our fingers crossed that nothing funny happens after, all our efforts.
Yeah.
Because we already know the personality that we're playing with.
Yep. Here. So. I'll drink to that. I drink to whatever you say about that. All right. So, speaking of drinks, Ice Cube. How you like that transition?
Terrible.
Ice Cube is in hot water. And that boy is smooth with it. Anyway, we'll see if this is a whooping out of head candidate for text. Anyway, so Ice Cube, the rapper. I have many different opinions on this, but he and this just happened. It wasn't even on the list of topics that we had sent out earlier. We're going to talk about because it just happened today. So basically, Ice Cube for months now has had what he calls a contract with Black America. I admit I have not read the details of it, but it is I gather a list of proposals and initiatives regarding education, economics, criminal justice, and I'm guessing, but it's basically saying these are the things that we as Black people are asking for. And I 100% agree with that approach. And we've actually had that discussion here on Just Reasoning, that we shouldn't really be slaves to any political party or just go along with what any political party said. Or nor should we expect them to come and say, here's our agenda for the Black community. No, we are the Black community. So we outline our agenda and then we go and we support whoever backs that agenda. Right. So with that said, so Ice Cube for months has been talking about this contract with Black America. And so earlier today or yesterday, a representative from the Trump campaign basically gave Cube a shout out and said, basically big up to Ice Cube, for working with the Trump campaign on his contract to Black America. So everybody's like, what's that all about? So Cube responded and said, basically, he has had this contract with Black America. Democrats reached out to him, Republicans reached out to him. And he said, this is Cube saying, Democrats said basically, we'll get back to you after the election. And the Trump campaign took elements of what Cube had in his plan and added it to their platinum plan. So the Democrats, they already had a plan called Lift Every Voice. That was their plan. So that's the plan they're going with. Trump took elements of Cube's plan and put it in there. And so essentially, it's all blew up because nobody had known about this, but the Trump campaign basically put Cube out there and said, tag him and say, shout out to Ice Cube for working with the Trump campaign. So people are like, oh, come on, Cube, now you have to be wearing a MAGA hat. They've just been roasting him on social media all day long. So I'll ask the question this way, and I'll start off with Tex. Was Cube used was he used for his name, for his notoriety, for his popularity with black people? Were they using him to try and influence votes? What's your perspective on that?
Of course they did. At this point, they're desperate and they're going to use anything they can in order to, swing the vote, the black vote. Q is very influential, artist in music, movies, producing, and things like that. So with that name recognition, yes, they did use him. At the same time, I commend Q because what I read is he actually approached the Democrats and the Republicans about this initiative. Okay. And of course, like Chris said, the Democrats said, we'll get back to you after the election. And of course, it was an opportunity for the Republican Party to try to swing the vote. So they took elements from that plan and brought it, to their own plan that's going on right now. Now, I don't understand why people are bashing Q, because if you have an opportunity to make some changes or basically get a seat at the table, which the regular person does not have. I mean, he was able to talk to the big wigs, and get his point across and let his ideas and views be heard. So if you have that opportunity, you do that. Now, it doesn't matter who's in office at the time, but it could actually make change for Black America itself. So you do that. We don't know how long this man is going to be in office or the next person. So if you can get in a position,
3 more weeks.
Well, we hope. If you can get in the position to let your ideals and things be heard and some kind of change be made, you do it. It doesn't matter who's in office at this point in time. This is something that can further the Black agenda from years to come.
Mm-hmm. Doc, what do you say?
Well,
first of all, you know how Ice Cube is. Secondly, do you have Ice Cube in your tea? All right, go on. All right, continue. Go on.
Well, I mean, I kind of agree with some of what Tech said, and not really. I think, honestly, the average Black person, unless something is radically wrong with you, is not really a true fan of Republicans, especially at this point in time, considering, who we have in power. So if the projection, if based on what Q probably said, is kind of hugged and loved, because that's the projection by the Republicans, I can probably see why some of the people of color were actually somewhat offended. So I think that it's probably just the projection that probably caused them to bash him. Okay, because rightfully so, that is currently presiding as president has really done us a lot of injustice, and it's just facts. So yeah, we anything that's associated with him, it's just not good. And I think that's probably how it was probably projected. That's why the Blacks kind of probably attacked him. And
so let me ask you this, Doc.
Question.
Let me ask you this. So if this would have happened at the beginning of the Trump administration and presidency, do you think it would have been different? Or should he have not done anything at all?
It should not have been different. It should not have been different.
Yeah,
I honestly never voted for the guy. It should not have been different. But and I'm gonna take it there. I think the reason why Hillary got kicked out is because the United States really wasn't ready for a female president. They'd rather have a Black man before a female. Be that she's Black or white. They'd rather have a Black man before a white female president. So,
and they just really didn't like Hillary. Yeah. That too.
Well, she got the popular vote though.
She did get the popular vote.
That's true. 3 million more. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the beginning of the election should not have changed anything. He was just inappropriate. And I mean, I don't know if you guys had sensed it that day when he won, but it's like it's like there was tension in the atmosphere.
Oh,
I don't know if y'all picked up on that. It was weird, because no one anticipated that this guy was gonna win.
You could cut the tension with a knife. So to add to, especially for your answer, I will speak on what Tech said. Yes, I think it would have been perceived differently. Because basically, if you had that conversation at the beginning of his term versus now when he's going out, right? So at the beginning, you seem like, okay, you may actually want to do something. Regardless of whatever we thought about him before that, it seemed like there may have been an opportunity. At this point, after you've been there for 3.5, 4 years and have done nothing, and have done nothing but, talk about, shithole countries and Baltimore crime and rodent infested and, your cities are no good, all that, right? So after hearing all that for 4 years, but what have you done anything? Have you been interested in any of these reforms? Have you been interested in discussing systemic racism and why these communities are that way? No, you haven't. But now, at the end, it's just like, all right, you know what? Let me just throw it out like a bone for some votes. And here's the thing about this, which I fully agree, which I fully believe. This isn't a plot to try to get black votes. Trump knows that for one, Democrats in general black people mostly are going to support Democrats, and particularly with him, he knows he's not going to win a significant number of black votes. What this is throwing a bone to make white people feel less racist for supporting it. So it's basically saying, how can I be a racist if I have a black plan? Right. Yeah. And if you look at the plan, it's just throwing out numbers, saying we're going to bring 5 million new jobs to the black community, create 500,000 black businesses. By doing what? Anybody can't just write out something on paper and say this is what we're going to do. So it's basically like to make
medical plan.
Yeah, I mean it's just to make again it's to make white people feel comfortable about voting for racists. That's what it is.
Yeah, but here's my take though. I think so much damage has been done in 4 years that at this point, and maybe I'm probably just getting my whole emotional, personal feelings caught up. You've done 4 years of damage. There's nothing at the almost 4th year that you can tell me that's gonna make me change my mind after you've done.
I agree.
You've killed our children.
I agree.
Don't get a voice anymore.
I agree.
Game over.
That's you. But there's that, this quote unquote suburban white woman in Ohio someplace who she have 1 or 2 like black friends, and she's like, I voted for him in 2016. Can I vote for him again? He's done all these things. But then you hear, okay, he has this black plan out. Okay, well, he could be racist. He worked with Ice Cube, for God's sake. You can't be racist. It's for them. He's trying to speak to make white people feel less racist for voting for race. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Especially, right, sir?
Let me tell you something. I agree with Chris.
Trump.
Right. I mean, the Trump campaign remind me of a little youth who sit down beside you in a class. And the whole time in a class, for almost the whole semester, he do his own thing and I fail. And the final exam come now, and he need somebody to copy off of. So he find a guy where I say something or I get good grades, and he sit down and copy off it and feel say, boy, yeah, he might go win, just like Trump. I mean, I've read the contract. It has a lot of very good things that it wants to get done, right? And I applaud you for being a part of it, right? But I don't think that he really should be bashed because of that,
I don't think so either.
Because I mean, people are gonna always try to use you when you're trending, or if you're doing anything good, they want to be a part of it. And worse, if you're sinking, right? You're coming like a straw. Drowning man trying to clutch at a straw. You're coming like a straw with Trump and Wolf and say, look, just like Chris said, you're not that racist. You can't go on with me, man. Roll with me. Be a little bit. And it's gonna work because, some people look out for stuff like that. Then we repeat it even though they don't know nothing where I go on. But they just have something to say that look, you might try a thing we don't know, right? We're not that bad. You know, we don't really hate to know.
The Republican Party has been doing that since day one. I mean, they did it with Steve Harvey. They did it with I
Jim
remember
Brown.
Pastor John Gray, Jim Brown. So it's a pattern.
But here's the thing, though, and I'm going back again. I'm the devil's advocate. I can see why, especially our people have an issue with the way how Cube handled this thing. You have to stand for something, or you're gonna fall for anything. Okay. At the end of the day, your thing still says black. You have made your name, and you never make it with that man. Okay. So at this point in time, okay, you don't need his graces. I mean, he's seeking your graces. So no, in that defense, he should have come back and said something. No, you have to stand for something. I would never want to identify. If I'm a successful black person and I have something that I would never want to identify with a personality like that. You have to stand for something or you're going to fall for anything. And that is why us as a people can't get better. No.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's where Cube has been getting some criticism. And they're basically saying that he's, regardless of the contract of Black America, they said that he is knowingly being used because, and I haven't seen exactly what Cube said, but apparently Cube has been on this, neither one of them do anything for us. You know, so I'm reading people's tweets. I haven't seen what Cube said, but people are saying that he was basically saying that we really shouldn't vote for any of them. You know, so basically say don't vote because they're all the same. And so, you know, where I've seen attacks coming for him is like, you're going to tell us not to support any of them. I know you're here work with the Trump campaign, you know, so you're suppressing votes on one end and then work with the Trump campaign on the other end. Again, I haven't seen what Cuba has said about that specifically, but I've seen a lot of people making those comments saying you kind of, you know, saying as Black people, we should just hold our vote and not really vote for anybody until they come and support this. And in the meantime, you're on the side working with Trump, you know. So
that's not the way forward.
You know, but with that said, before we, you know, kind of move on here, I agree with the approach. And weeks ago, probably the first episode of Just Reasoning, when we're talking about this, is that what we as Black people need to do, instead of waiting for somebody to come and say, here's my Black agenda for your community, what we need to do is say, this is what we want. These are our specific asks. We want this in education, this in healthcare, this in small business development, infrastructure, all these different things. And once we outline that, we now go to all our representatives or senators, president, and say, this is what we want. Are you on board or not? I don't care if you're on a blue shirt or a red shirt. Are you going to support this our agenda or not? And that's essentially what Cube did. So I believe a lot of the attacks he's getting is not fair. But, you know, people are saying basically, you know, wise up. You know, this man is using you. You have more sense than that. You know, so, you know, people, they've been coming at them hard. I mean,
it's a catch-22. He's trying to do
niggas with attitudes.
He's doing something to actually try to better the Black community.
Yeah,
you have to bring it to both parties. You know,
you
have to, because and with that said, the Democrats probably said let's wait till after the election so you know they can know, you know, hey, what their status is, so they know how far they can go and things like that. And plus, they already had their own plan. So
I think that is a key point, because the way that you know many are playing it on social media is that, you know, they just told Cube to, you know, screw off. We're not interested in a plan. But if you already have your plan, then, you know, we're not going to just adjust it because you name Ice Cube. You know, we have our plan that we think will work for the Black community. So we're not going to just rip it up and take things out and put, you know, because you're Ice Cube. You know, and so there's before we move on, I'm going to make I don't remember the exact quotes, but it on the Ice Cube videos, there's a video from Malcolm X talking about how white America props up these black celebrities, entertainers, ball players, musicians. He said they prop them up because they, as our community leaders, they're not going to look to, somebody like a Malcolm X as a leader. They're not going to refer. They're going to refer to somebody who is in entertainment because, they believe that these people should not be taken seriously. So that's what Malcolm X said, that it's kind of a plot of white America to prop up black entertainers, to see that we shouldn't be taken seriously. But anyway, obviously Malcolm X said it a lot better than I did. So, but we'll
did a good job. You did a good job.
And get your thoughts on it. Tex, bring me back on. Whatever you're pouring, bring me on. All right. So next subject. All of us here, Jamaicans. So the United States, they have, as long as I can remember, held up themselves as just the pinnacle and the ultimate democracy of freedom, and this is how you must do it. And running all around the world, monitoring elections and say you're not doing things the right way. You look at us, we're the gold standard of elections and democracy. But my question, and I'll list off some examples, is right now as we sit here, what makes the United States any different from some of the most corrupt regimes, throughout the world, that they're always running around trying to say you're doing things the wrong way? So, as I said, that if you kind of think about it, for one, outside interference in elections, right? So, right before I left Jamaica, right, with the 1980 election, with the interference of the CIA, the JLP and the PNP and CIA, which we'll cover that that topic deserves a whole segment on the show at some point. But how they interfered in Jamaica's elections to steer certain results. They wanted the JLP in power because the Reagan administration, the conservative, they wanted to, and they didn't want Jamaica to be aligned to Castro, so they interfered with the election and armed one party against the other, and that was a bloody, messy election. 1980, it was a mess. So now we're having our elections interfered with by Russia and God knows who else. Beyond that, right now we're looking at the legitimate possibility of election day violence. That when have you thought about that before? You know what I mean? Where they literally, FBI literally arrested about 8 people in Michigan for a plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan. And a similar plot was there to kidnap, the governor of Virginia. And Trump and his henchmen bawling out to these, militia types to go to the polls and watch, quote unquote, the polls. So basically stand up there with,
guns and stuff.
AR-15s and what have you to intimidate people. Some real third world shit, right? And that is something that is legitimately being encouraged openly by the leader of this country. Add another point on that, you have, this corrupt administration basically enriching themselves or himself in broad daylight before everybody. Every single weekend this man gone to one of his golf resorts. And what happens there? We as taxpayers are paying money into his pocket directly for him to go and have a weekend vacation. And not just him, when the president moves, hundreds of people move with him. Now they all have to stay in Trump resorts, paying money out of US taxpayer money to go to him directly. So basically taking resources of the state for his own benefit. You have the Trump Hotel in DC, where you have, people from all sorts of foreign governments when they come in town, you know, they pay to stay at that hotel, and that's known as the hotel that you go and stay if you want the president's air, or go to Mar-a-Lago, and you know, you pay membership and it gives you president. So, you know, and the thing is, when we talk about Trump, these things don't even come up because it's like we're used to this level of corruption. This man is openly taking millions of dollars of our money in broad daylight, and everybody knows about it, and doing nothing about it. So, with that said, my simple question is, like I started off at the beginning, what makes the US right now different from the most corrupt regimes all throughout the world that they always run around talking about in Africa and South America and what have you, and pointing that you're the bad guys? Why are we so different? Is there any difference? Especially, what do you say?
No different. Because, you know, I mean, Jamaica might not have any Proud Boys, but we have gangsters and dance.
We have reggae boys.
I do the same thing down there. Where the leader say, yo, we need you to go for a minister. Them gone for them. If the leader say you need to shoot up a dance, them have them guys ready. So, you know, I found it very strange, you know, when Trump said about stand back and stand by. I wasn't
strange.
sure what he was saying. No, I wasn't sure what he was saying. You know, until we actually hear the Proud Boys come and say, boy, how we must talk to? Hold on and see where am I going with. I didn't even know there were people standing by waiting for orders from him like that. Where, you know, they had stuff planned to kidnap people, but them are gonna hold it down until them hear the up top boss say, yo, go and go do your thing. So that is what people need to understand. See, this guy's running, you know, the country like, you know, again.
Downship.
And and him are the big Dan, right? And nobody else can talk to him. Not even him own advisor. Sometimes I'm afraid to talk to him, right? And you can't have somebody in power, right, where the advisors can't even say, yo, how are you doing, G? Not do that, man. I don't say that. But I don't listen about it. Jamaica too. I same thing. Yeah, same thing.
It's worse than like Jamaica, for example, because it's out in plain sight. It's on CNN. I mean, he says this shit and out loud, and we know everything else. We know I'm going to Doral Golf Resort for the weekend, and you know, that millions of dollars going into my pockets. And people just say, okay, you know, let me take my kids to a soccer match and move on. It's just not even paying attention. You know what I mean? Texas, what do you say?
I have to wholeheartedly agree with Special. I mean, it's basically being run like the mob. It's really been ran like the mob, like in the '60s, where you had the mob boss, and you know, everybody's waiting on their orders and commands in order to, you know, get things done. And it's really sad. And I know Chris said, you know, we're looked at as the pinnacle and as leaders. I don't think after this administration, I don't think that anymore. And especially after we handled the pandemic. I mean, come on.
Nope.
We had heads up way before most people did, and we just botched that. Or I'm not going to say we. I'm going to say the administration botched that.
Damn.
Definitely. I don't think we're at the top anymore, and hopefully, you know, in 3 weeks we have some leadership that'll bring us back to the top and let us be an example for the other leaders and countries.
Whew. Lord, if you're listening, Doc, what do you say?
Yes. I disagree. I'm kidding. We are all. I'm starting to poke fun, but yeah. I do agree with the two gentlemen. I mean, there's just absolutely no difference. Politics is politics anywhere you go. It's faceted on, for the most part, corruption. You know, and with that being said, there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, except with this guy that we had in power, you know, he was just very blatant and unapologetic for, you know, the total disregard for America in general, and, you know, just very, very poor presidency.
Like the thought they had in power. Like the thought they. You know, this is the guy we had in power. Like the thought.
The past tense, yes.
Yeah, like the thought.
Yes, past tense, yes. We love that. Fire burn him.
Yeah, but I've never heard of these Proud Boys until he said something. Never heard about them before.
Now they're proud. You know. Oh man, there was I can't remember the exact. Yeah, in one of the things about bashing Cube. It said about Cube's new movie, Proud Boys in the Hood.
What?
But shout out to Ice Cube. Anyway, you know, so the Donship thing is it's a very real example, and if I'm listening to a few prosecutors who are actually on the Robert Mueller team, and that special prosecution, they're looking into the Russia thing, who have prosecuted mob bosses their whole careers, and I said the way that Trump moves and the way that the sworn loyalty and dangle pardons and, threaten people if you talk, and it's like there is nothing different from the way he moves and the way that the biggest Don in La Cosa Nostra move is the same thing. You know what I mean? So we're sitting here just kind of wallowing it, like no, go on, like this isn't as bad as it is, So we said it many times. This is definitely the most important election since I've lived in this country, by far. You know what I mean? There's more at stake than we can possibly imagine. Another 4 years of this cannot happen. It just cannot.
And if we want to go further back, I want all the viewers and subscribers to check out how Trump's father made his money. He was basically a gangster. So let's do our research and due diligence on that one.
Yep, he was a gangster, and he was a horrible person by all means. And he basically he gifted Trump $400 million. That's where his money is. His money come from. Yeah, you get somebody $400 million. That's where you get the money, and then from that, you just kind of live off the name, and from there it's just building on the hype. Selling yourself as a self-made, or everything you run go bankrupt and what have you. But anyway, so you go. All right, so that's the serious discussions. So let's get into the
lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, the sus part of the program. Trying to find a nice, clever transition. But since we're in the middle of this pandemic, where everybody wearing a mask, the angel decided to take off her mask and everything else too. What? See what I did there? All right. Look at background. The angel. Y'all like my transitions, don't you? You do.
Yeah.
You may not think you like them, but you like them. All right. Look at background for those who may not know who the angel is. The angel, dancehall, singer, DJ, nice looking lady, ex-girlfriend of Bounty Killer, ex-wife of Beanie Man.
Okay, all right.
Right. And Beanie and Bounty have been rivals for years, so that's sus up already. Anyway, so in the past few weeks, this was I just heard about the thing today, so I don't know how long when the story first bust.
Last week, man.
So she had a bunch of private photographs, I would say, or nudes that leaked, quote unquote leaked, on a site called OnlyFans. So, from my understanding, this OnlyFans website, this is what the founders say anyway. It was created as a means for creators, creative types, to build a fan base and get money from it. So, for example, you're an aspiring DJ or a rapper or a poet. You display your talent and you develop a fan base and they pay you money, right? So, where did that go from that? Obviously, it went to, ladies, I assuming, showing off their goods for a lot of money. The doc turn around. So I've and this is just from groups I'm in on Facebook.
Hot one time.
From groups I've been here on Facebook, they always talking about OnlyFans. But I guess like anybody can do it. You can go on there and create a page and show off like a breast or whatever and get the $20. So apparently, what that going on now, some more high profile people have been getting on there and getting some big money. Cardi B, she have a page on there where who knows what she show up. And people come back and tell us, share the screen after you come back. Anyway, so a lot of the regulars on OnlyFans are saying how these stars coming in there and taking the money. Somebody like Cardi B, she making her money, millions from music. She go on OnlyFans and a guy wants to see her breasts and she get 10 grand for it or whatever. So that's the background of what OnlyFans is. So the Angel, she went on OnlyFans and show off everything. All our goods and bads.
It's a package deal.
Right. And I get money for it. So she said, they said the image is leaked. But obviously she's no fool. She knows something like that, as with a name that she has, that information is going to get out. And that's going to get her some more fans on OnlyFans who are going to, pay a grand to see our breasts or whatever. So she said she's making a ton of money on OnlyFans and she don't see the issue. So now, they asked Beanie Man about it. Beanie Man, ex-husband, father of her 14-year-old son.
Yeah.
And so, Beanie said basically, for one, acknowledge that she can do whatever she wants to do. But as a mother, especially of a teenage boy, she should be more mindful of that and the impact that may have on him and what his friends going, because all his friends are looking at, I saw your mama titties, you know what I mean? So with that said, that's the background. And of course, I'm going to come to the good doc first, being our only lady on the program tonight. Question. Is it her business? She do whatever she wants to do. We shouldn't business about that. Or does a mother with the status that she have the should she says she's just providing, it brings a lot of money and she's providing. Is that more important than setting a good moral standard for your teenage son? Or it's not our business? What do you say, Doc?
It is our business. And
it
mean, yes, it is our business. It don't matter.
Okay. I'm
it don't matter. And just outside of the fact, we're gonna get to the motherhood in a bit. But she also, I just kind of feel like she has a certain obligation to her fans. Okay. That to me is a little bit inappropriate.
Her only fans or other fans?
No, not that place that she's, decided to do that interesting thing, but motherhood, that comes with a certain level of, emotional responsibility. And I just kind of feel like she must have been, one, a selfish person, two, emotionally immature and irresponsible to do something like that. There are mothers out here who are not as half as successful as she's, been, and they're not on the supposed site, making a living. There are other ways to make a living.
And suppose
Respectfully
dub plate
so.
not paying the bills, but sure enough, a nipple paying bills.
Find a job.
Okay.
Be it housekeeping, cashiering, whatever it is.
So you want
don't
big
have to resort to
Angel to
that.
start run shop?
Hey, that's the reality. A lot of
Okay.
us have fallen from grace.
Okay. I mean, okay. Especially, what you say?
But to each his
Go
own.
on, go on.
Yo,
Especially what you say.
Yeah, let me hear this.
For research purposes, have you seen the pictures?
Let me turn on my volume and start recording this.
Strictly for research. Just
Yes, sir.
because I'm a professional.
I've seen the pictures. I'm not tell you, say, it thing shot because you know really shot, right? She already have a file of road, you know. She didn't really have to make it thicker than it was before, right? Yeah, a couple man did see the thing already. You know, other DJs did want to see what it look like, and now they can pay $19.99 and see everything, right? Being did have to spend $50 million for see all the time. But he didn't spend so much. But the $19.99, if Beanie did wait, he could have spent that and see when they don't see. Right? Me now say she can't make her money still enough. Right? Because if it's a hype shall look, you have other artists take other route. And me talk earlier about Spice, where I do her thing and she not have to take off the things them. But other DJs, just like Jojo, tell me to, Maca Diamond do the same thing. I don't know if more to the file there. But I mean, people what I laugh at me.
How about Shensi? Shensi, have she have a page?
How much is it again? $19 for Shensi?
Might have to put that $19.95
Because, because me a year so she pump whole heap of things around her back there now. And you want to see all light, you can't see all light. You put on some swimsuit so you can see. Some might, but you can't see all light. But in 1999, stiff to like a D-Angel and a Maca Diamond star. And I mean, it's free now still because, people are circulating it. I mean, so she has sue people where pass it around, but
Yeah, so she just keeping her name out there.
Yeah, she make her fall so thick, because whatever people they really want to see it, but like what they out there, I gotta see it. So I mean, it make her a little bit more popular because some man that's the only way them are gonna see celebrity like that. So them are gonna pay. Them are gonna pay, but in terms of enhancing our career, I don't think it did.
I think she's transitioning into a new career. And so she's not running from it. She basically more or less, I don't remember the exact Instagram post, but basically said there's more to come. You know what I mean? So sex tapes on bus. Look at Kim Kardashian. I have $1 billion off a sex tape. Anyway, so Doc Bex, text, what you say?
Man, look. This, I don't even understand why we talking about it. Basically,
because the people are demanding it. Text.
I mean, sex sells. Okay.
Yeah.
The music career, nothing's going on right now. I mean, what relevant song has she put out in?
No, she put out some song.
Relevant.
Okay, so you can go to the club right now and hear one of her songs.
Yeah, man, you hear one of her songs. She have couple songs, especially for a new rhythm we just bust with Be a Girl upon it. A Be a Man Girl upon it.
Hey.
Yeah, man. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think within the month, it's bust.
Hey, bottom line, show off breasts and make more money than music.
Yeah, and that's my point. Sex sells. That's what's going on. She's in the confinements of her own home or wherever she is. She's social distancing. The checks are running. I mean, what the problem?
I agree.
What the problem is?
Okay. No, you're correct.
Because if you go to a strip club, somebody throwing ones at you. You don't know how close they can get.
COVID ones.
She at home. Hey, look. She can check her bank account daily and see that money coming in at $19.95.
What about the motherhood part of that?
No. Again,
her
that's
business.
a valid point. No. That's a valid point.
What?
It's her responsibility as a mother to actually get ahead of that and go to her kids and say, hey, you might see this and this and that, but this is my reasoning for this and this and that, blah, blah, blah. It's not something you want your kids blindsided with.
Oh, yeah.
So that's your decision. You as a mother, you have to basically take your kids aside and handle that business. That's none of our business. The people that are paying $19.95, they don't care about none of that. They just want to see what they can see. And unfortunately, that's a society we live in right now, that you can pay $19.95 and hey, get a fantasy, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, I'm tripping on the part where they say macadamia. Nah, I ain't trying to see that.
Maka says she has to feed her pitney them too, right?
Well, I guess to each his own. If somebody's willing to pay that to see that, I mean, it is what it is. But I don't have anything personally against her.
I'm about to get me a page.
She's not doing anything illegal. She's, collecting good checks. I'm sure she pays her taxes. Keep it going. But I mean, everybody has good points. But I mean, it's where we are today. I mean, the sex online business is one of the top business in the world. Period.
Recession proof.
So
people getting kicked out of their house, but they have to pay to see that thing. Doc, do you have another point? I know there's a bag of man up here talking, but go on, man. Yeah, right. Bring us back to class up the conversation as you do.
No, I'm just trying to figure out, and I'm not trying to be the holy nun, but where is self-worth? Where is integrity? Where's all of that these days? Yeah, I understand that sex sells, but I mean, she's 40 years old. She's a mother. These 42. Are her realities. See, 42. That even
42?
Further up the street.
Yeah, look good for 42.
Okay.
She hold it down at 42. Yeah. Not that I saw the pictures. From what I heard. Yeah.
Man,
I mean, as a professional doing research, I did see them.
Yeah, I didn't pay $19.95. I saw it.
But
the ultimate question though is, where is the longevity? And I do hope for her that
ain't none.
It's not going to be short-lived, where she's probably going to ask herself, was it worth it?
Yeah.
She feels like it's worth it, because I read that she's buying a house,
temporarily,
buying a new car,
for now,
and things like that. So
for now.
So as of right, you're exactly right. So as of right now, she feels like it's worth it. Down the line,
is that quick hustle?
That question.
So to each his own, but we have to understand that every action eventually leads to some type of reaction, right?
There's a price. There's a price,
Right. And I'm just saying.
My sister says Maka is 51. No, I don't want to say that.
These technology.
Maka must get a grant.
No, technology can make you still look good like a 20-year-old kind of thing, you don't know.
Oh, you're talking about Photoshop.
Well, okay.
But people want to see it live. They want to see the Maka and the diamond live.
And what is so strange, all of them, they're on a rhythm, new rhythm called the pink rhythm.
Joe, shout out JoJo. She's giving us all the info. So she's on the pink rhythm. All female artists is $19.99 a month. Thank you, JoJo.
Right.
And why do you know?
How you know? Yeah, you up there paying Idris.
And I've heard the pink rhythm. The pink rhythm have all of the top female artists, including the Angel and Maka Diamond, and a couple other artists upon it, And it's a
but that money now make. That now make no money. So she said it. So she basically says, I'm a model. I think she was like really model, like before she got into music. I'm a model. It's art. It's tastefully done. Anyway, end of the day, her business. I do agree with the good doc that everything has a price. Yeah, you make money off it. But the son part of it that's really the only thing that, and again, her business, do whatever she wants.
Right.
But that should kind of bring some pause. Yeah, have a teenage son. Every single one of his friends see his mother naked. Every single one of them. Anyway,
And he's probably driving a BMW to school. I mean,
yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see how it goes. Anyway, one quick thing, quick more music topic. I'm not going to get this in great detail, but just to revisit this for a second, because we've covered this on the show about Tory Lanez. We talked about his album that bust the other day, where he basically denied the whole shooting for the whole album, pretty much. But the shooting of Meg the Stallion, and he was charged with felony assault for shooting her in the foot. That's a charge that was made this past week. We'll talk through all the details of it already, but the one question I run is to your text. Do you think by being charged and whatever happens next, that the truth of what happened will now come out? Do you think that's likely?
I doubt it. I think the charge is a formality. I think he brought the attention to himself by coming out with this album, and basically he got the buzz, about it and about the whole situation. Everybody talking about the situation again. Like I said before, and we've talked about it, we're not going to get the truth until both sides come out. And I'm not making any judgments because when we first heard it, I automatically assumed he did it. I mean, and then I heard his side. I was like, hold up, stuff not that.
Now that I think about it.
Yeah. So what I've actually learned from the experience is not to make any judgments or anything like that until both sides, come to the table and we actually, get some clearance, a clear view on things that are going on. But I think he basically dug a hole for himself by proclaiming this through the album. And I think just, when it first happened, they didn't charge him. And that's been 3-4 months ago. As soon as the album comes out, they charge him.
Yeah, the timing of that he brought attention to it, like you said.
Exactly. So I hope that he has his ducks in a row. He has his I's dotted and his T's crossed and everything like that, because now the hard questions have to be asked, and I hope he's able to answer them. And I hope Meg, on the other hand, is able to, answer those questions as well. Again, the truth is always going to be somewhere in the middle. And I have my own opinion on what happened. But it is what it is.
We'll see. May justice. I agree with the first point that you said. That was my main takeaway. I have no idea what happened, but I did go entirely when it just bust. I didn't realize that he hadn't said anything about it. But all I was hearing was her side. So I assumed, oh, wow, that's messed up. Shot his girl in the foot and just assumed 100% of it was true. Not even allowing for the possibility that there may be another perspective.
Right.
So my hope in all of this is that whatever the truth is will be revealed, and whatever happened should be happening. If he's innocent, let him walk. If he's not innocent, then you have to pay for it. You know what I mean? So go. Basketball season finished. The Los Angeles Lakers won a championship. They beat the Miami Heat. Miami Heat were basically playing with, a few hoopers from the YMCA and a couple others, and they gave the Lakers a good series. You know what I mean? I take my hat off to the Miami Heat.
A good series?
No. I mean, no. They get in there. I'll say that. Well, they won 2 games. Nobody should to win any games, especially with 2 of their 3 best players hurt. That's a big deal. I mean, I think they showed a ton of heart for one, get in there, as they were like the 6th seed or something. Beat Boston, beat all these teams that nobody expected them to beat. And, I couldn't really name any Miami Heat players before this. You know what I mean? I think I think Eric Spoelstra, their coach, has done a hell of a job to get them there and to get them competing. In the last game, it kind of seemed like they just kind of ran out of steam, but I give them props for getting there. So, quick question here. We obviously know that this season has been very different. The interruption in play, I guess around February, March, so a lot of games were canceled. We thought the season was going to be over. So then the NBA came up with this bubble thing where all the teams have to stay in this one place and can't leave and come in. There are no fans in the place and play games. So winning the championship under these circumstances, what you're playing in front of no fans, playing a shortened season, you're playing in very unique circumstances from any other title that has ever been won. In your mind, 38 Special, do you think that this championship that the Lakers won should have an asterisk by it? So when you look throughout history, you see all the champions, and you see that asterisk. Should there be something to indicate, well, that one was different. They didn't play a full season. They didn't have to go on the road, no traveling, to see that this was a different year. Or just make it go on, they want it, forget. What do you think?
Well, let me tell you something now. You see, for me, first of all, me feels a Laker did a play with a sixth man in there. They not talk about Kobe, right? Kobe did it. And
I agree.
Even if I just to celebrate Kobe, them still do the work that was needed to win the championship, right? Everybody did have the same opportunity. And
asterisk or not? Answer the question.
No, asterisk.
No asterisk.
Man. No asterisk.
It counts same way.
Yeah, because them beat Rockets same way. And from there, so, me feel so boy, if they go on to win, then deserve it. I thought we had a good team, but we never really showed, But I mean, them work. If you show up in the same gym every day and play the same amount of games as everybody, and you come out on top, you should deserve it. You can't take away nothing from a guy. I mean, you win, you win.
So no asterisk.
No, sir, no asterisk, then win.
Texas,
but
what you say?
What you say? Go on, Special.
No, but me that's a boy, Kobe didn't have them heart and they were playing for Kobe, so then probably did have a little bit of an edge, But I mean, them play, then come out and then play fair. They never play unfair. So I mean, you win, you win. Everybody did have an equal opportunity, and then win.
Okay.
So I was ready to come on the show tonight and say, you know what, asterisk. But I got to thinking about it, and my thoughts were, okay, all teams that were eligible were in the bubble themselves. There were no advantages there. All the players didn't have their significant others there, didn't have wifey there, couldn't see their kids, didn't have their home cooked meals.
Had some side pieces there though.
Hey, they got the ones that did got kicked the F out.
They got kicked out.
They got kicked the F out. So, like Special said, it's a level playing field. Everybody went through the same thing. And it has to be tough, mentally, and I'm not talking about physically, mentally, not basically being away from your family for, I think, was it 3 months?
Yeah, 3 months.
3 months. And you have to think about the players that we're talking about. These are players that make millions of dollars and they're used to be, being catered to, having their own masseuse and their, 5 o'clock, bruschetto and, tea and, things like that. Which in the bubble, again, everybody's on the same playing field. You have the same access to food, gym, things like that. Now, there were players that opted out, but that's a team thing. The same thing. I know players from the Lakers organization decided to opt out, as well as other teams. So when I look at it that way, I have to say, you know what? It is a level playing field. Unfortunately, injury is going to be part of the process. we think back to the Golden State Warriors in the previous year. Klay Thompson got hurt,
KD
injured, KD, and things like that, and they were basically out of contention there. I mean, stuff happened, so you live with it. Same thing in the bubble. So, with all that said, I just to be real, I have to say no asterisks. The playing field was leveled. They won the championship. Kudos to them, and like Specially said, Kobe was with them. I always, and y'all know, Nas is one of my favorite rappers, and he says it was written. I say the same thing. At this point, it was destined for them to win.
Yeah, so literally, every now and then I'll see something that shows like Kobe Bryant, a birth date and a death date, and it's just hard to believe that he really is dead. I mean, but that from the day that he died, I said to myself, the Lakers are going to win the championship this year. I think it's something just, it's just, before COVID and everything. I'm like, there's a 13th man with them. That you can't really, when you're playing for something more than this wasn't just a championship for them. They had to bring in a different level of focus. Obviously the topic, it gets people really animated. But it's there's no asterisk, just kind of like how Rockets fans get when you say that there should be asterisks for our championship because Jordan wasn't in the league and that nonsense. So I don't believe in asterisks at all. You win, you win. Whatever the conditions are, every season is different. I think this, I've heard people say that this year was harder. I don't think it's harder. I think it was different. It was different. It wasn't harder. It wasn't
Definitely
easier.
different.
It was just different. There's no traveling involved that can take wear and tear. There's no, opposing fans screaming at you. Some players respond to that better than others. So it's just different. But again, everybody was under the same conditions, and under those same conditions, they won. So take off a hat to them. So I'm wearing purple and gold, not for the Lakers, by the way. Just to make that clear.
I know
Doc,
you like purple, I know somebody who like purple too.
Doc, you watch basketball? What do you say? You have any takes?
I mean, from time to time, I didn't watch it, but a team is a team is a team. Whether or not I watched it, it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Team preparation is key. Okay, It doesn't matter what changes there are. You have to, as a team, be versatile. Learn to communicate together, so that whether you put under pressure now or 3 games down the line, you just have to bring your best game. So honestly, no asterisk. No asterisk there. May the best man win. So, and I think that's just how that thing played out.
Agreed.
All right. So,
and the purple are the problem now. I didn't really want to say it. The purple are the wickedest color in that scheme there. Right?
Exactly.
We didn't know that. Yeah, man. And some people
you're saying that for PV. Yeah. You're PV bias.
You see all that thing there. Yeah, man. Some people love purple more than some still. So some people wear it every day. Some people just love the color. So I mean, it's a powerful thing. You see, like right now when we go to them, say everybody I wear purple, or some people me know and a Lakers fans. Purple. Right, purple. But I mean, I'm a purple one still.
Last point on this, and I think I know where you're going to come out on this, but does this make the greatest player of all time conversation? Does LeBron, is he making a challenge to Jordan, or is that signed, seal, and nobody come to that foolishness?
Yeah, a couple more rings to win, man. Yeah, a couple more rings to win.
So you think there's a possibility that he can be viewed as the best player ever?
Oh, LeBron? No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I'm just checking.
I mean, all him LeBron about 36. All him be again take.
Is he that all or something?
Yeah. He been in the league 17 years.
Yeah, so I'm about 36, 37. And I mean, Reggie did the night until I'm 41. So if LeBron can win 2 more rings by the time at 39, he might can talk. But for now, he's one of the better players, but not talk about greatest yet.
He's top 5 of all time. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Jordan was just a level above everybody else.
Here's where it is, and I'm tired of the MJ, LeBron,
Kobe.
I'm just gonna say, in Jordan's era, he was the best. Kobe's era, he was the best. LeBron's era, he was the best. He's the best. Period. They all brought different things to the table. So I don't know why we have an obsession of comparing people. Just basically in the moment, absorb their greatness, witness it and enjoy. I remember watching Michael Jordan's games where he was in the finals and things like that. I remember him losing to, Detroit and Boston and things like that, and rooting for him until he finally won. Okay. The generations after, they don't know anything about that. So they might view Kobe as the best. Mm-hmm. As is generations before me probably think Wilt is the best. And we could just debate this, days and months and years and generations. Right now, LeBron is the best there is. And that's all that needs to be said.
Best player in the league, yeah.
He's the best player alive today. We'll give him that.
No, not alive.
Alive. Currently playing.
Yeah,
he's the best player currently playing.
Yeah.
However, hey, look, these are barbershop conversations as if I've ever been to one in the past 30 years. That's a long time, my youth. A long time.
He been shining since he was 17.
Yeah, I used to cut on here when I had it. So I just think, having watched their careers, it's not a ring discussion to me. LeBron could win 3-4 more rings. I'm still going to view Jordan as just the best player that I have personally seen. It is difficult to compare eras, but Jordan, it's not just the physical gifts. It is the mental approach to the game. I think Kobe was built off that same stuff that Jordan had mentally. I don't think LeBron has that. I think LeBron is extremely physically gifted.
Everything Jordan did, Kobe, that was his idol. That was his mentor.
And he outright will say it. And it's like who better to copy? I'm going to copy somebody. You know what I mean? Hey,
there was a whole movement want to be like Mike. He just took it to another level.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, though, I do agree that getting bogged down in these conversations of is he better than Jordan. I just appreciate his greatness. We can have that discussion when I'm done. I have my opinion. Everybody have theirs, but appreciate what we're seeing because this is the kind of player that comes along once a generation. We're not going to see a LeBron for a very long time. So appreciate it. Anyway, that's it. We run through a whole bunch of topics tonight. Now we get to the look at more section. Doc, give us some words of wisdom and give us some class up the place as you do.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we're looking to you to save us.
If only, right? But I guess I'm gonna go a little bit biblical for the week, right? As we
need it. After that D&J conversation, we need it.
In everything, we gotta see God first. Okay? Yeah, I'm taking it there this week. In everything, see God first, and He shall direct the path.
Amen. Touch and agree. All right. Especially. You're following passing, so you better have something good.
Oh God. Well, all my officers.
Oh God. I thought you come with.
No, big and serious though. Me a little talk earlier that the up top boss, was in the office. Make that a reality now. People go out, go vote. The next chance me get when we can reach the 6 o'clock and nobody in our line, I go vote too. Or me now left until me put my ex beside the right
bell.
person. Yeah,
The bell or the head.
So people just think about other people, as I always say. Wear your mask, go vote. Show people that look, we have a talk to, we have a say in how we live. And be positive, we will make it through this, And not just more life, man. I say, more life. We can
more life.
Yeah, man, more life, man.
Yeah, man, more life for 1999 for Danger. Anyway, go on. Texas. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
No.
just to reiterate, especially sentiment. Hey, let's go vote. Let's make a difference. If not for us, for the future, for our kids, for our family. Let's get out there. Let's brave the elements, whatever it may be. Don't let them suppress your vote. 2 hours, 10 hours, make the time. Go do it. It does make a difference.
Peace. So the other night on TV, I think it was on Rachel Maddow's show. She was, just saying, and just discussing how important this election is, and just saying, years from now, when you look back, you want to be able to say to yourself that given this moment and the significance of this moment, how did I respond? And did I do everything possible in that moment to make sure that I lived in a country that I was proud to live in and that I was proud to raise my kids in? Did I do everything? Did I vote? Did I donate? Did I help other people to vote? Did I get information out there? Because you don't want to be looking and questioning, could I have done more? When you look at one of the first subjects we touched on this show was, could it happen here? And looking at 1930s Germany and how Hitler came into power. And, those people were comfortable and living their lives. And before you know it, you have this man killing off 1 million Jews. Could those things happen here? Of course they could. I didn't think it was possible before, but now I've seen how that can gradually erode all the norms of a country. And then it just kind of happened while people sleep and handling the business. So it can happen here. So with that said, all early voting is going on from now until I think the November 3rd is election day. So I think probably the Friday or Saturday before election day is the last day to early vote. So if you can,
the 30th.
The 30th, October 30th. So get out there and vote, people. It is the most important election of our lifetimes. If you are not eligible to vote, then do your part in other ways, whether it's to donate or encourage others, call. You can volunteer and call to get other people to go out and vote. You can do something. In the moment when you were challenged, how did you respond? That's something that we want to be able to look in the mirror and say, I did all I could, when it was all on the line. So vote, the most important thing you will do in the next few weeks. Anyway, people, big up on yourself. Thank you for joining us once again. Big up to our guests, Doc, for classing up the place. Texas especially. Big up on yourself.
Easy eyes.
JustReasoning.com. You will find this and all other episodes. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/MySoulRebel. Or search for the Just Reasoning group. We talk things all week long, not just on the show here. So get involved with the conversation and tell us the things that you want that are of interest to you. We kind of pick topics based on, what's going on. If there are the things that you think we should be focusing on and need to bring attention to, then bring it to our attention and let's discuss that. We're the voice of the community. That's our goal here. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. If you enjoy this, Share it with somebody and tell somebody about it. Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us. Until next time, big up on yourself. One love. Peace.
Yay.